Our team is honored to present our group assignment in this video. Our topic is Promoting World Cultural Equality, Translation and Communication of Chinese Literature, which is relevant to SDG number 10 and SDG number 17. We will divide the presentation into 5 parts. You can see the outline of our presentation from the screen. I will elaborate on the first 3 parts: abstract, background study, problem statement, objective study. After that, my partner ZHOU will report on the other 2 parts, brief methodology and literature review. First of all, let me give a brief overview of our study. According to United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, all countries are mobilized to foster peaceful, just, and inclusive societies and achieve SDGs. The translation and communication of Chinese literature plays a significant role in promoting the equality of language and culture among countries. However, there is a severe imbalance between China and the Western world in the translation and communication of literary books. Chinese classical poetry, especially Li Bai's poems, plays a pivotal role in the cultural exchange between China and the West. The research aims to explore the effective path for the translation and the communication of Chinese literature with the communication of Li Bai's poems in the translation as example, which helps to promote cultural equality and diversity among countries. The research intends to compare and study 6 elements here: translators, content, strategy, channel, audience. Lastly, the effect and influence of Li Bai's translated poems. Next, I will go on to the second part, background of study. PEN International, with the Translation and Linguistic Rights Committees, have assigned the Rona Manifesto. It calls for linguistic equality and diversity around the world. The expansion in English power has aggravated the inequality of the status of all languages in the world, and the condescending attitude of the English-speaking world towards translated literature has seriously damaged the aspiration of equal cultural exchange among all countries. Chinese government has launched and sponsored dozens of translation and communication projects to spread Chinese culture, but the results of most projects were unsatisfactory. Therefore, research on translation and communication of Chinese literature should be on high agenda. Let's move on to problem statement and objectives study. The research intends to explore 5 questions, and the study aims to achieve 4 objectives. Firstly, providing reference value and important data support for Li Bai's poems. Secondly, providing suggestions and methods for the path of translation and communication Chinese literature. Thirdly, providing experience for weak countries to carry out translation and communication literature. Lastly, promoting language equality and cultural diversity.
Okay, next. My name is ZHOU. Let me introduce the rest part of the research. The fourth part, methodologies. In general, quantitative and qualitative methods are applied to different terms of research. First, as for the quantitative research, the research will find out the number of libraries containing books and collections with Li Bai's translated poem and research paper, and find out the translation norms of Chinese literature going out from the perspective of quantitative research. Then, with qualitative research, This study objectively analyzed the current situation of the translation of Chinese literature and clarified the essence of dilemma of Chinese literature translation so as to review its inherent law by putting forward the effective translation and communication method of Chinese literature. Then we come to the stage of literature review. We classify our literary review into two parts: the study on Chinese literature, which contains research content, method, and scope. In terms of genre, researches on the translation and communication of novels occupy the highest percentage, while little research has done on the translation and communication Chinese poetry and drama. As for their objects, most research has done on translation activities of translators, little research on the communication channel, targeted audience, and feedback mechanism on translation effect. It is evident that they adopted the method of qualitative and quantitative research both. The previous research took their research from microwave and macrowave. We collected the related researches and listed their scope, analyzed, and major findings in Excel. However, there are a limited number of relative studies abroad. Then, we analyzed the study on Li Bai's poem in further. The relevant study mainly focused on analysis of a single translated version of Li Bai's poem, on the translation history and the translation activities of Li Bai's poetry in a certain history period, on the dissemination and the reception of Li Bai's translated poem in the West. Here are the list of the previous study. Similarly, there are a limited number of relevant studies abroad, some of which focused on Li Bai's life and features of his poem. At last, from the research and analysis of our aspect from genre, object, scope, and methodology, we confirm our research topic. Thanks for watching.